the journey of my head. So it was a skin cancer, a BCC, but it was quite big. It was there for probably 9 years or something like that. I had another one here. Something's obviously been triggered in my body this year, which I would say is deep grief. And there's obviously was things under the surface that were triggered, and they're coming up and out. My body is expelling it all now. So relief to be releasing that toxicity and any chance of it getting worse, or potentially being any kind of bad cancer or spreading when you don't check your skin and stuff like that. This one's been quite an emotional time. I had a friend I lost a few months ago to cancer. And so obviously not knowing, in the time that you don't know, it's really calls you to have faith and to see that you have two options. You can change. I believe there is an amount of free will that we get to choose. It's not about toxic positivity, but it is about like watching what's in the mind and not being victim to circumstance. Which brings me to, I just wanted to share my journey with it. There's still a little bit of swelling. I'm on day 5 of healing now. The pain is still there, but nowhere near. The first night was absolutely horrendous. If I wasn't like strict in my practice of meditation or breathing, I would have been fucked, like completely fucked. Luckily, I had a friend that was with me and I was in good energy. And yeah, when I came home, I had someone here to support me, which was arranged by my mum, and I'm super grateful for that. So the physical pain, I feel I can deal with quite well, but it's all the stuff that comes up around it that's been a huge test for me. Obviously, this it slows me down. Last night was the first night I was able to sleep not sitting up, so I had a much better sleep. There's so much that goes into the physical part of the healing, but there's a lot of stress on me being a provider, the only provider that for my children, and I'm the only nurturer for both of my children. I don't co-parent. I can't co-parent. Those situations are not existent for me to lean into. So it makes it difficult and a little bit stressful. And because I have my own, I work for myself, when I'm out, that's it. Everything stops. So that's always a challenge that I've faced, being a solo parent. And yeah, the emotional stuff that's coming up this year, what was triggered, I believe, all this stuff coming out obviously was all the grief I've been processing around losing my friend, around just hospitals. I have not very fond memories of hospitals, and I don't think my body has processed them. So an interesting thing that was happening while this was getting done, it was a 3-hour procedure that I was awake for the whole time. So I was awake for cutting, like burning, cauterizing, like snipping sensations, pulling sensations, stitching, obviously. And it really called me to draw on everything that I know, because I didn't feel safe. Like little me just felt like it was pretty brutal, and my body started shaking, which was what our bodies do naturally to release the trauma. And a lot of the time we try and stop, or we don't let the body let it move through. But because of everything I've read and just because I'm trauma informed now, I suppose it made it much easier for me to release it and let my body just shake and let it out at the time. And I believe that also helps to heal the smaller part in me that experienced a lot of trauma in those places. And it's just been so big for so many reasons. You know, getting knocked down so many times this year. Just so much going on. Like the loss of a friend. There's so many incidents this year that have been just freakish and have really impacted me, and how I show up to the world and how I'm questioning my existence and how to be in service quite regularly. Yeah, I'm in another phase of kind of just coming off these painkillers now, which seem to affect me a lot. Seems to be a dance between like not wanting the pain there and wanting to heal, so taking the medication, then my body trying to get rid of it, and me being just sick in the stomach. So I'm glad that today's the first day I haven't had to dip into any of those, and I plan on taking some CBD oil in its place. My body sometimes gets a little bit of anxiety with the CBD oil, but better than wanting to throw up with this pain and happening on my head. I'm glad that the swelling's gone down. There's just a bit of bruising left, and I hope this is it for a while. I really do, because it's really testing my my ability to really self-regulate. I've had to call friends. A friend's going to come and stay with me, and just planning ahead, things like that, when I know I'm really struggling to regulate myself. So I'm showing up today sitting behind and watching all these kind of wounded parts move through, but it's really not easy. And so my trigger seems to be when I'm left alone, and I'm not good, and I can't hold capacity for other people. That what shows up for me is in that space of not being able to be in service. It's just really sitting deeply with the grief I feel as I release all of this childhood trauma. Lots of memories will show up in this time. Lots of sensations in my body, and when that happens, I know that there's a part of me that I'm blending with, and when I blend with it, I don't feel like I've got support. I feel really lonely. I feel like no one cares. Obviously, higher self knows that it's not like that I'm okay, that I'm safe, that I quite like to be alone, and I usually always do my healing alone. Every time I do any mushroom ceremonies, like 95% of the time have been alone. I'm alone in my healing a lot, and this time I'm honoring the parts that are showing up and needing company. I need someone to help hold me through this, and this is just because there's a lot showing up. I am struggling to regulate myself a little bit, and I'm noticing that. I'm still able to communicate, probably not too well, to some people that also may be triggered. And I think I was speaking with a friend this morning, and it came up that because she's experienced people that have been quite sick in her life, and there's been loss, that she struggles to show up for people that are in these, like a situation like me. But my wounding, on the other hand, is that I feel I've been sick and in so many threatening situations on my life, and I've done it alone, that it's triggering me to be alone. And so it kind of expanded my view after we had this conversation of like, we really do have to honor people where they're at, and whether it's that, particular person, we want to show up a certain way, their patterning may not allow them to, and that we have to hold acceptance to that. So while I'm processing the grief in that, I'm just leaning into the people that either can heal with me or be here to hold that space as well, because this emotional stuff is really what is underneath it. And so once that is cleared at the root, we no longer carry, we rewire the pathways, and we no longer carry that behavior with us. So I really look forward to getting through all of this heavy feeling shadow work. And you know, I wanted to take a 2-week break, but then when I really think about it, yeah, I want to show up in my shadows as well. I think most of the time this is vulnerability. This is me speaking to what healing really looks and feels like. And this is what I do every day with other people. And I know it can feel brutal and painful and upsetting. And when we blend with parts, it can feel life-threatening. It can feel dangerous. But it's to know we do take a seat in that higher self. That's what we prepare ourselves for with meditation, with yoga. All my practices definitely help me to take that seat in higher self. And doesn't mean I don't project things, doesn't mean I don't get blended with parts that are struggling when I'm unwell, doesn't mean my stuff's not coming up. So me showing up in it, saying, hey, this is what I do for a living and this really is impacting me as well. No one's perfect, and so whatever that word perfect is, we can scrunch that up and throw it in the bin, because we all have our downs, we all have our ups, and this is what the human experience is all about. And it's all valid. Every part of it, every like learning that I'm going through, it's all part of it. So yeah, I guess just showing up in it. I don't know if that made any sense or not, but it might to someone.